Robert, it's been a long tournament. I know you're excited. I think it's fitting that the World Championship match finally gets over the hump and it comes to a close here on Wednesday. It's hump day. Are you looking forward to the long weekend?
Absolutely. It's been an exhausting time here in New York City. The 12 games of chess, of course, the classical games that is, were just a daunting task for both players, for all the media who stuck it out the whole way. And the tiebreaks games, they were exhilarating, and Magnus Carlsen is a deserving winner.
And let's dive into those tiebreak games now to give everybody a little bit of something to take away in the critical moments of each of those games. Skipping right past game one that really was not the most exciting affair, but Magnus Carlsen did exactly what he needed to do. He achieved a draw as black and went on to game two with the white pieces looking to take charge of the match. And it looked like he was about to do just that with move 16. Tell everybody why this move was a sign of things to come.
Well, just funny note here, the birthday boy just had happy birthday sung to him by the audience. The spectators are very happy with the reigning world champion. But back to move 16, he went all out. He went pawn to b4, trying to break on the queen side. And the idea is that white gains more space. There's a transition with an asymmetrical pawn structure that favors white. And Karjakin did not do well to handle that imbalance.
Yeah, and as the moves on the board are being played out here for the fans, the key thing is that Karjakin couldn't handle the threats on the queen side, eventually made this mistake of heading into the two minor pieces versus the rook endgame. But with all those things happening and it seeming like the writing was on the wall, Magnus Carlsen was about to win this game with white and take things home. We get to a position where there's so many options for him to keep the attack going against the black king, to play a position where, for those watching it live, they knew Magnus Carlsen had about 5 or 6 minutes. Sergey Karjakin was already living off the increment under a minute. But the champion showed that he still just wasn't quite in the right form with this first mistake, Robert, when he took on e5 with the queens, which is not only a queen trade, but it forces yet another exchange right after it. And even though, as we're going to see this game play out, Magnus still went on to potentially have chances to win, was that a sign for you that something still wasn't quite right with the champ?
Yeah, that was a very surprising decision. He was up a lot on the clock. He should have applied pressure both on the board and on the clock because Sergey Karjakin had not the best time management throughout the tiebreaker games. So he should have kept the queens on. He didn't. The ending looked to most to be a draw. Of course, the engines will tell you, oh, there's some ways for white to win. But just optically speaking, with only 3 pawns remaining per side, it was not clear how white would break through. And Magnus did find a way to break through and missed his chance.
Yeah, he built up the position all the way to the moment you see right here on move 62 where he got the king right where he needed to be, has his chance to play the move king f7, which without going into all the analytical details now, we can tell you that white will eventually be able to start barreling down in on these pawns, starting with the g7 won by force. But instead, Magnus played a move that really just a pure miscalculation. Bishop to g4 allows the black rook to come back to its ideal defensive setup because of these bishop f8 threats, and the rest was history. Karjakin held once again, and I went into game 3 now, Robert, I think like many people really thinking, wow, is this Sergey Karjakin's match? Magnus has failed time and time again to convert. You can't do that over and over again and expect to live to tell the tale, but he left very little room for doubt when, with the black pieces, he not only was no longer afraid to go into Karjakin's preparation, but he showed he had something up his own sleeve on this move right here. After the move knight to g5, he quickly captured and then launched a pawn storm on the king side that was just incredibly dominant. Nothing white could really do to stop this attack, as Magnus just completely outplayed the Russian.
Yeah, and I think engines mislead the people looking at them in those types of positions. They say white might be slightly better in plenty of the lines, but in reality, it's much more difficult to play with the white pieces. Black's plan is very clear. Launch an attack on the king side, very much like what Carlsen did. He created some weaknesses. The e3 square became weak, and after he broke on the queen side, which was a very intelligent move to play on both sides of the board, he eventually liquidated a bit and found a great tactical shot on move 30.
Yeah, and I'm going to show that tactical shot for the fans right here because it seemed that Karjakin maybe is feeling happy. He's traded off some of the minor pieces. He dealt with the opening of the queen side, as you said. but not so fast. Carlsen pulls one out of the Zurich 1953 playbook here, going with a thematic positional sacrifice, e4, eat your heart out. There was nothing more fun than seeing the chat go wild and screaming that Carlsen blunders again, not realizing that this positional sacrifice ensured that black, if he wouldn't win the game, he would dominate the rest of it. The queen and the knight and the rook on the dark squares are about as big of a nightmare as white could possibly have in this position, and even with best defense, Karjakin probably still would have lost, but he could not hold against the oncoming threats, and he just blundered with rook takes c7 because rook a1 wins the entire house, and so the champ was now taking a full point lead into the last game with the white pieces. Karjakin went on full tilt, Robert. He played the Sicilian, but I'm only going to let you tell the fans about the final moment where black played the move queen f2 on move 48, and white finished off with a very, very sexy combination, if I don't say so myself. Probably move of the week material. Tell everybody how Carlsen defended his world championship title.
Well, unfortunately for the black king, it was left naked and afraid, and after the rook came down to the 8th rank with check, the king was forced over to h7, and queen h6 check, an aesthetically pleasing queen sacrifice that delivers checkmate by force. If the pawn captures on h6, rook takes f7 is made on the spot. If the king comes up and captures, well, the rook gets it from behind, rook h8 checkmate. So unfortunately for Karjakin, he was forced to go crazy, really against his style. Trying to win with the black pieces is hard for anyone, but particularly for a solid player like Sergey Karjakin. So he went down swinging, but alas, we see maybe one of the best moves of the year that could be in any tactic book, queen h6 check, delivering the final blow.
Very nice to see a match like this that held the attention of the entire chess world, most of the general media, a major sporting event come to an exciting finish despite the criticism, of course, well-deserved criticism, I think, for how the classical portion ended. They did deliver today with some exciting games, and with that, Robert, I'm going to let you go get ready for what is hopefully an exciting night for you as everyone relaxes and lets go a little bit, and I'm going to welcome our next special guest here on ChessCenter.
Thanks, Danny.